Hello everybody, my name is Alan, I'm from Sauber-Lab, and today we're gonna continue the video how to configure your home server against of Raspberry Pi. In this video we're gonna talk about RAM memory. If you're using a Raspberry Pi, you don't have so many choice about it. You can choose between 1, 2, 4 and 8 GB of RAM. But if you're using a desktop or you want to do your home lab using a server, you can have more choice, and then we're gonna explain a little bit more about those and what you need to consider when you choose your speed and your capacity. Those will be only apply for your desktop, but if you're gonna choose your Raspberry Pi, you need to have this one in mind as well. So if you like this idea and want to learn a little bit more about it, we're gonna show in this video. But first of all, don't forget to leave your like, consider subscribe for the channel, and let's understand a little bit more about it. Before we start to decide which kind of RAM memory and how much we need to look what options that we have in the Raspberry Pi. In Raspberry Pi, we can choose between 1 GB, 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, and all those memory runs or RAM memories is DDR4 with the speed 3200. Depending on the model, of course, some of those will be a little bit different. But in this way, we need to think. It's important to have the same speed that Raspberry Pi has, and I will say no, it's not important. And why it's not important? Because we will not be able to see this difference. The only time that you're gonna be able to see the difference of the speed when you are playing games or when you are doing some application that is really speed related. But once that you are doing your data access or you're doing anything related for it, you're not gonna see this difference. But then you say, okay, what I need to consider when I'm gonna choose my RAM memory is the amount of RAM memory that you have. If you get a little bit faster RAM memory or a little bit slower, you not affect so much your performance or your experience in your NAS server, because other things will affect it more. But then you're gonna ask how much I need to have. I look a little bit from the internet and I find some information. If I look for the Open Media Valve, according from the website, you need to have at least minimum 1 GB of RAM memory. And normally if you're using Raspberry Pi, you're gonna use Open Media Valve. So if you have a Raspberry Pi for 1 GB of RAM and you install it, will work. But if you do any other extra application, this system will be quite slow, and that's your experience will be really deteriorate. So it's not interesting to use 1 GB only for your Open Media Valve in this case. But then if you use the true NAS, it's gonna require more information, more RAM memory. According from the website, it's recommended that you have at least 8 GB of RAM memory plus 1 GB for each terabyte of data that you have. It means that if you have 4 TB of storage, you're gonna need at least 12 GB of RAM memory to have a good performance and use as a cache and everything to run well your true NAS. If you look for Unraid, they say that's minimum of 2 GB, but recommend 4 GB. I'm not sure that these two other options work in Raspberry Pi. I never saw run a true NAS in Raspberry Pi, neither Unraid. So only option for Raspberry Pi, you can install directly Debian or the Raspbian. Also, you can have the Open Media Valve that use Raspbian or Debian as a base. The others two, I don't think that you can run in a Raspberry Pi. But anyway, RAM memory, let's return it. You can have a lots of options of RAM memories as well. You can have 1 GB, you can have 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16, 32, 64, and continue on. But everything will be high cost. So why I'm gonna put 128 GB of RAM memory and if I'm not gonna use it? Remember, each CPU that you're using will have the maximum RAM memory that's allowed. Not necessarily that you always gonna activate it, but at least they say the maximum that we can use is this amount. In the case of last video, we considering the i3-12100 as a CPU for reference. And in this case, This CPU can allow the maximum of 128. Normally, the motherboards can allow 4 slots. It means that if you get 4 cards of 32 GB each, you're gonna have your 128 GB of RAM memory. But if you're not gonna use all this application, why you're gonna need it? And how much I need it to have? So let's say, in the website of Triplex, they say that it's recommended to have at least 2 GB of RAM memory. And I want to compare other applications that I have. In my case, I open my Sonar here in my screen, and here you can see that as a standard, they have around 400, 500 megabytes of RAM only for memory and the rest of cache. And you're gonna ask, why this cache? This cache is only to keep the information to read really fast. So they have some thumbnail, they have some basic information. Instead of they access your hard drive all the time to get that information, they rather keep as a cache. If you have not enough RAM memory, this cache starts to be smaller, and that they will take longer to run. So if you open your Sonar or Radar or any other application, they will take a little bit longer to understand this information because they will need to get everything for the hard drive all the time if you don't have this cache. So in this case, if I open here, my Sonar was using that specific time around 600 or 506 megabytes of RAM memory plus 1.1 gigabyte. So if I add everything, it's around 1.7 gigabyte only for the Sonar. If I get my Radar, they use a little bit less, but it's still using pretty much the same, around 1.7, 1.8 gigabytes of RAM memory. If I get my LiDAR, it will be less because my library is smaller, but will use some memory as well, around 500 gigabytes. So if I start to add everything, I install OpenMediaVault, so we'll use around 1 gigabyte. I use my Plex, 2 gigabytes. Already have 3 gigabytes of RAM memory. If I use more my Sonar, so it will be more 2, so I already have 5 gigabytes recorded. If I use my LiDAR, my Radar, will plus 2, and everything will be adding more RAM memory. And it's good to have a little bit more extra for if you need to have more cache or if you need to have more applications, it's good. So this is what you need to consider. Which kind of application, how many applications that you're gonna use. Don't go stupid and get 128 gigabytes of RAM memory because you're not gonna use it. And don't go so low for 1 or 2 gigabytes of RAM memory because you're not gonna use it as well. So speed. So you're gonna ask me again, why I don't get a fast speed? Because we'll have other things that will affect more your performance. One example is the hard drive. If you have a hard drive instead of SSD, you will not have so much usage for it. The time that they will take to read and record in the RAM memory, the RAM memory is much faster than hard drive, so you not see the difference. You're only gonna see for gaming, playing, but for your NAS, don't lose money or don't spend extra money to have a really fast memory. Spend more money to have more capacity of RAM. In this way, all your application will run well. As I told, this video will be quite short because RAM memory it's important, only capacity, not so much speed, not so much brand. If you get HP, Samsung, Kingston or any other brand, will not have so much difference between them. They will have a price difference and speed. Those are the components that difficult will break in your system. Those are the components that difficult will have any issue. And the limitant of the speed will not affect so much. What will affect is the limitant of capacity for it. So, in this way, we finish this video. I hope that you like this video. If you like, don't forget to leave your like. If you don't like, leave your dislike. Consider to subscribe for the channel and see you next time. Bye.